My name is John, and our daughter previously attended Windmill. Since that time, I've stayed connected with Windmill through the Saturday morning family workshops, and that family workshop has been a huge part of my own recovery. The family workshop provides an opportunity for new family members as well as alumni family members to be in one place at the same time every Saturday morning to share their own experience, strength, and hope. And for the newer families, it allows to see what maybe some of the folks who have been in recovery longer, what that looks like. And for the ones that have been there, it rekindles the spark of just committing to the road of recovery, which is so important. We knew that things obviously weren't going well, and frankly, we were out of choices on what to do next. And gratefully, our loved one voluntarily chose to come here. Remember the drive here, and we didn't have any basis or anything to compare it to, so we didn't really know what would be next, other than she was willing to take an active part in her own recovery, and we didn't know what it was going to look like for the family other than we wanted to support her. But so much has been learned since that time. Most importantly, that the best thing I know that I can do for her recovery is my own recovery. And that's something that I've tried to live into, which is one of the reasons I continue to attend the family workshop on Saturday. I believe one of the best things I learned while our daughter was in treatment was there were things that I could do, which is mainly to work on myself and my own recovery. By changing some of the things that I do, it certainly helps her in her recovery by supporting her and learning the difference between support and enable. In Al-Anon, we learned that I didn't cause it, I can't cure it, and I can't control it. But by living a little differently and treading more lightly in our relationship, I certainly, through support, can build her up, lift her up, and help her in her own recovery by working on my own recovery. That was one of the biggest eye-opening experiences. Driving down here and meeting one-on-one with our daughter, and then with you, Casey, and just learning that there were some things in and amongst our own family that we could work on that, while not necessarily that unhealthy in the scheme of things, it was eye-opening on just to open up communication. And communication is so critical for the recovery process. Things that maybe just had been going on unsaid, and just giving an opportunity for everybody in the family to have a voice in the family, their family roles and family dynamic. I found that whole process to be incredibly healing and soothing. As a parent, it might have been a little rough at first just to hear that maybe we didn't do things 100% right all the time. But it didn't just involve our loved one, it involved the whole family. And just having that opportunity for everybody to speak and to be listened to, it opened some things up that's created a healthier family situation to this day, frankly. Some of the benefits for our family after our loved ones left treatment has been just more openness, more communication, a healing that has gone on amongst the family. Casey refers sometimes to the identified patient. I recognize that whatever we had going on as a family wasn't just isolated to the identified patient, that through better communication, loving each other, supporting each other, aside just from what was going on with our loved one, has been incredibly healing for the whole family. What I would tell someone that is considering having a loved one attend Windmill, just merely having that discussion with themselves amongst the loved one and getting here is the first step, and it's a huge step because I'm fearful of the unknown. What does that look like? What is treatment? Coming to grips with the fact that a loved one is even attending treatment. Is this something that I did? Something I did as a father or a family member that I perhaps could have done differently. But it's the first step in a journey back toward reconciliation and health. And it takes courage, but there are so many people here to support both the loved one and the family members along the way. The mantra that I continue to tell myself is the best thing I can do for my loved one's recovery is my own recovery. And that has given me space and pause before I react. I don't need to be right. I don't need to have unsolicited lectures and advice. I can be patient and calm with her. If things are going well, I celebrate that. If things maybe aren't going so well, I'm not the first one to jump in with either the I told you so's or whatever. I love her differently now, I support her differently now, and I try my best to do those without enabling her. As it became close to the time for our loved one to leave, I remember just a lot of anxiety and fear about what the next step was going to be and whether it would be right. However, I know that she was given instructions here on what that was going to look like. Sober living was encouraged. We did find sober living for her upon departure. From a family member's perspective, it was, how do we do just the right thing? How do we make her environment just right? But I learned that ultimately her recovery was up to her. And even though, again, I can support her and I can live alongside her, she had to decide for herself what her recovery is going to look like. I'm grateful that our daughter's experience here also involved the family. I remember specifically coming down as a family and having some one-on-one sessions that opened up communication, different kinds of communication that not only supported her in her recovery, but also gave us an opportunity to look at our own recovery in the process. Not having had a loved one go through treatment before, I wasn't aware that the family would be involved not just in their recovery, but in our own recovery. And coming here and being able to talk with our loved one and one-on-one with a counselor opened up some communication within our family that frankly we hadn't had before. And I believe it made great strides just in healing as a family and also recognizing more fully what our loved one has had to go through in her own recovery, and we're all better off for it. My path to my own recovery has opened up so many things about my own behavior that I've been hanging on to probably for a long time. People pleasing, for example, or needing to be right, offering unsolicited lectures and advice, which may be welcome, but they may not be. And it's given me an opportunity to look at myself and improve on my own parenting, being a better friend, being a better husband, living life in just a much healthier way.